Welcome back to another edition of Between Two Fars. I'm Warneke Miller, joined once again by the amazing Andrew Falcon. Since 2012, Andrew has been the chief counsel at Goddard Space Flight Center, and he has spent 28 of his more than 30 years of practice at law here at NASA. And he's got some very valuable insight on the attorney's role in risk management. And today I'd like to wrap up this series by taking a step back and looking at the forest through the trees and really talking about the core of your role as a field attorney and risk management. Andrew, what do you have to say to the attorney that is just entering NASA, is coming in at one of the centers and is realizing that we've got this networked, mapped system of attorneys, like 150 attorneys across the country. What is their role in risk management?
So this is, I think, core to the MAP philosophy that, we took forward and got approved by the agency, by the Mission Support Council at KDPC, so on and so forth, right? Is that we have this enterprise structure, and the enterprise structure is designed with something very specific in mind, and that is to establish the kind of feedback loops between working attorneys and leadership that help us navigate this, challenging budgetary time in the most effective way possible. Notice I did not use the word efficient. Because I just don't believe there's any efficiencies here. I think we've got some ideas, and we got everybody's come up with their efficiencies, and we'll do them, and it'll be great, but it'll still be a net loss, right? Because of just all the management overhead that has to go into MAP, But that doesn't mean we can't get some good things out of it. The big one, I think, is this: we got to deploy our resources where they're needed. And it's working attorneys, not leadership, that know. I mean, I haven't stood up in court since 2004, right? I'd have no idea what I'm talking about, but you do, right? Because you do the work. So we need to be making sure that we have that kind of, not just input, not just surveys and, stuff like that, but actual engagement from everybody in decision-making and leadership roles at all levels. And I think there's a tremendous opportunity. That's the way the governance structure was set up. People can do it or not. If they don't do it, then, the bosses will boss, right? And I think that's not a good thing for us. I think right now there's a lot of frustration in the field because people don't see where this is going. I shouldn't say in the field. A lot of frustration amongst working attorneys, headquarters and the field, because they don't know where this is going and it seems like a lot of additional work. Well, so I would say take the bit. Take the leadership roles, pull the authority to yourselves. That's what this structure was designed to do through the CLFs, through the SWIGs. We've got attorneys and administrative professionals on all those groups for a reason, because that needs to be really where the planning comes from. It's not something that leadership can do because it's been too many years for some of us. So anyway, so that's the idea. Use it or don't. If not, we're going to wind up with, headquarters will pretend to tell us what to do and we'll pretend to do it.
All right, so if the goal is to get the working level, the trench level attorneys to speak up when they see something that needs to be changed, when they see an area that needs more resources, or else we're going to have a major crisis on our hands. If we want these attorneys to speak up to leadership, what is your advice to leadership to cultivate a culture that will enable these attorneys to speak up?
So this is what I view as being the iron law of leadership. The most important thing is to understand it's almost like a physical law to me. Everything is precisely reciprocated, right? So a leader gets exactly as much loyalty as he or she demonstrates, not one bit more, not one bit less. A leader gets exactly as much commitment as he or she demonstrates, not one bit more, not one bit less. And you can just go down the list of every desirable trait. So this is the key point, right? It can only happen if people are not just encouraged, but in fact welcomed, rewarded for stepping up. And so, we had one of the LLMs recently, Jay Jackson and Ron Bald, did an unsolicited deputy's proposal, they called it, to basically shake everything up, right? And I don't know if we're going to do any of that stuff, but good on them. That's what we need to have, is we need to have, people coming in and saying, hey, we're seeing some problems that you're not addressing, right? And it doesn't have, and now their thing is very much, org structure and management stuff and all that, but it can be legal too, right? Like, you guys don't realize just how much in the way of risk we're taking on our day-to-day, because we don't have the resource available to do a thorough job in area X, whatever area X is. I just think that's so important. So really, it's leadership will either facilitate it or not. I know that so far I think we've been pretty welcoming to it, so take the bit. That would be my recommendation. I've been telling people for years, you see a problem, just go fix it. We'll tell you if we want you to stop.
That is a wonderful advice. And really, I ask everybody to take the bit, take this to heart. For this enterprise structure to work, we need people to speak up when they see a problem, speak up when they have an idea to make things better, and we need leadership to be receptive to the ideas and welcoming to them. Thank you so much for joining us, Andrew. Your insight on risk management has been so incredibly helpful. Join us here again next time, Between Two FARs.